Hi, this video is for the yard maintenance and mowing of the southern home in Florida that we currently own. Okay, if you live in a different part of the country, this video may not apply as well. But in this video, you're going to see edging of the lawn and a new concept that I'm trying to promote, which is I'm trying to kill off the dollar weeds, which has no known insecticide to kill it. So what I'm trying to do is starve it from its normal photosynthesis with the sun, okay, by cutting off its ability to absorb sun rays, by cutting off its polyps or leaves to keep it from spreading and growing and maybe killing off the roots. The concept is new to me. I've been doing it for about a year now, and it seems to be working. The dollar weeds are on the retreat, where they were really rampant here about 2 years ago. I mean, it was like a forest, and now we're getting down to where it's more controllable, and this is how we will control it, by using this method of trying to cut off the sunlight from the dollar weed. And that's what we're basically after, is the dollar weed. And I use two methods. I pull the leaves off by hand, or I can use a weed whacker and go around now and do it very quickly by just looking for the dollar weed leaf and whacking it off with a weed whacker. Moves much faster. So here we go, and let's see how it works. Okay, are you ready? All right, this is the start of the process of the weed and trimming video, and maybe a quick mow of the yard in southern Florida, in our house in Auburndale, Florida. Okay, if this was another part of the country or different types of weeds, then this would not apply. Okay, but just follow me along and I will explain the process as I go. I start with an electric weed trimmer. Okay, and electric weed trimmer is the easiest I found to use over gas, because gas takes too much maintenance and it's too hard to start and keep going. This one goes good every time you use it, with hardly any interruptions whatsoever. So here we go. Just follow me along. As you see here, I'm trying to take my time and put a nice clean edge on the lawn as I go along. I'm always trying to get any kind of plant that's growing up on the pavement, because if I get that plant cleaned off, it won't grow over the pavement, the grass, if you trim it back. So as I go along, if I see something growing on the pavement, I'll whack it. Along with any dollar weed I might go by and hit. Did you see these grass pieces out here in the crack? Make sure you get those, because if you don't, they'll grow over the tar and you'll have to dig them off later on. Nah, it's just you gotta slow this one down a little bit sometimes to get it to feed cable. I don't think so. Shouldn't be, but we'll check it quick, because you never know. And this just pulls off the top here, and you can check. And no, I'm not out of cord. No, not out of cord. It's just not wanting to feed for whatever reason. There it goes. It's an auto feed, so it feeds on its own, at its own pace, so to speak. But when you're near the concrete like this or the tar, it uses up line a lot. Eats up a lot of line. And I'm also nailing some dollar weeds as I go down too as well, by knocking those tops off, and I'm getting this stuff out of the crease, because if you let that grow over, you're going to be cutting it off with a shovel the hard way. All this growth out here in the street and all the cracks, it grows up. So I try and keep that back too as well. And you don't have to be out here with a shovel trying to get it off later. And I'm nailing these here dollar weeds as I go along, so I can see if I can cut their photosynthesis off and drop them back. Okay, I always look back to make sure that I got a good start on it and a nice clean cut down the yard there. And then what I do is I try and go and get me some dollar weeds. You'll see them here, whacking the tops off. photo from the other side.
Why don't you turn the head?
Because you don't want to gouge the grass. You want to just knock the weeds out. If I turn it the other way like this, it's going to cut the grass. You don't want it cutting the grass. You just want it cutting the weeds. So I'm just getting rid of the weeds. See? And I'm aerating the grass a little bit too while I do it. But it seems to be working. The method I'm using. Stand over there. Now you could do this run of two ways. You could do it this way, or you could just come out and you could pick the tops off just like this. Can be picked as well. And just, you know, that cuts them off too. And actually that's even better because you pull a stem too as well. You're not just getting the leaf, but you're getting the stem too. And you're doing it that way. See? So that's another method that I use between whacking and pulling them. My biggest part is I have a hard time seeing them. They're very hard to see in the shade. So that's why I had the cameraman turn around, because you can't see them as well in the shade as you can in the sun. They're very hard to see in the shade. But like I said, the hardest part is seeing them and finding them, especially now since I've reduced the population quite a bit over the last year or so. Like I said before, the hardest part is just finding them because they're green and they blend in real well with the grass. But when they become a forest, they're like a bunch of shiny, it's like having a shiny grass top. And that's how that goes, all right? So now we're gonna keep on looking. So we got this area pretty good last week, and we are only going back in and grabbing what we can find because they're going to be a lot sparser than they were last week. And this week you may even see some of the little ones that you whacked last week coming up as half leaves. But you want to look through and grab as many of these as you can, and helps rout them out of the lawn. And to get rid of them. Okay, so now we're going to go and we're going to go up the side of the house and see how many we can catch over there. And I want to show you the difference between a fully matured dollarweed and what I call their little polyps that are generated that helps sustain them, that I've discovered is part of their growth process. This stupid weed whacker, for whatever reason, doesn't like to feed the line too well. So sometimes you have to go in here and pull it up one adjustment to get it past whatever it is that's not feeding well. And then you have to stick your cover back on without losing anything or breaking anything. Because you're just wasting your time if you don't have enough wire out to get these. You hear that? If you hear that growling noise, that means you've got plenty of line fed out and it's doing its thing. Whatever it was not doing before, it's doing now. And when it's doing, and when you got enough line out, you can take these things off really, really fast. And when you're not doing it around concrete or tar, the line lasts a lot longer because you don't have a hard surface to bang it off of and strip it off. So it lasts a lot longer. Okay, so we're working our way across to the backyard to where I can show you the whole plant and how it grows. Turn it horizontally to do up against the concrete sidewalls. Try and get it back away from the bricks about a half a foot to a foot so that when you do your mowing, you don't have to get in close and hit those rocks with the mower. Because the last thing you want to do is be hitting the rocks with the mower. And while you go around, you make sure your shower heads are down because we do have irrigation in this lawn. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, this whole section was covered with dollar weeds, completely covered. Okay? And over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been hitting this area pretty hard with the weed whacker, and I'm going to show you why. Because there's a plant, the part of the plant that is not, you can't really see much, is shown pretty good in this area. And that's what I would like to show in this video, is how those plants look, okay? And the plants that I'm mentioning here are, if I haven't killed them all off, they are in here. They were in here real heavy before, and I've been hitting them pretty hard the last 2 weeks, and they have been going down immensely as far as the end. Also, you'll notice that the dollar weeds have been going down immensely. But here's your plant right here. This little plant right here is the beginning of a dollar weed. And it looks like a dollar weed, and it is a dollar weed, come to find out. So I've been whacking that as well, which is a small looking dollar weed. So what I do is I go through and I hit these, and that gets rid of the little dollar weed that, if you hit the big one, keeps coming back. And I didn't realize that when I started this process. But this whole area here, the whole yard, this whole hill area was completely those little plants, little dinky dollar weed plant. And now that I've been hitting them with the weed whacker, there is none to be had hardly. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going through and see if I can catch any that I missed. And every time you hit them and you knock them off, it's one less you're going to have to do later. And hopefully the plant will die, the root, because it's not getting any sunlight anymore. And right now, it has been working. You know, this process of taking away the sun from the plant so that it can't grow. And I use the weed whacker in a vertical sense because I don't want to tear up the grass. You use it horizontal sense and the grass will get all tore up. but I'm killing all those little little small plants that don't look like a dollarweed when they're down, but when they grow up, they become a dollarweed. That's how they start out. And thus, you keep having to go after them and after and after them. But if you kill off that lower plant, it seems to be taking their ability to reproduce back away. Not only doing it this way, also aerates the grass so that when you mow, if you collect the grass, you will be taking some of the weed and dead grass off too as well. Okay, but these tulips in here are what grows up and becomes your new dollarweed. I call it little tubular things that come up and grow up in here and become the new dollarweed. Okay, now we'll go back down here doing the edging part. See, if I hit it this way, see how it's cutting all the grass? You don't want that when you're just trying to get rid of the dollarweed. You don't want it cutting all the grass because it makes uneven surfaces. Okay? I try and get up in here behind the bushes and the irrigation post all the way out because I can't mow in there with my mower. I have to stay out in the regular yard area. Okay? But I try and get back in here and make sure I get as many of the weeds whacked out of here as is possible so we don't have them growing out into the yard from under the bushes. And once in a while you'll see some going along and you'll just have the temptation to want to go and get them. And these plants right here can bog down your edger, your weed whacker here. Big time. So be careful. But yet, don't forget to go up under there and see if we can get them out. Okay? Now let's go down. No, we're going to continue our weed whacking exercise in the grass here on our way back to the garage because this battery's getting weak. I know because the motor's starting to slow down and I want to change out batteries. Like I said, the hardest part is just getting to see them, because they're so hard to see up here in the grass because they grow vertically as well as horizontally like a windmill, and they're real hard to detect sometimes when they're in the windmill mode. But that's the hardest part of the job, is just finding them. Make sure you get them all, because they are really tough to find when you're out here in the blazing sun. You know? But they are doable. And I think this method is the only method available for dollarweed, because the only other thing you do is starve them of moisture. But if you starve them of moisture, you're going to starve your grass of moisture. So it defeats that purpose. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to take away the sun. And if you take away the sun, you probably will reduce or eliminate the majority of dollarweed in your lawn. If you keep this regimen up every day, every week, how often you do the grass, you should be able to eliminate a lot of the dollarweeds in your lawn. And like I say, I have been doing this for about 2 years now. And this used to be a forest. I mean, it looked like there was somebody shining a mirror off my lawn with all the dollarweeds that were grown up. And now they are in huge remission. And I think it's because I been taking the sun away. But I try to kill them with chemicals. There's no chemical made that will kill them that I know of, that is available on the internet. And I tried digging them out and replanting, and that didn't work, because unless you're going to take about 1.5 feet down of your soil and replace it all, you're not going to get all the roots on these things, because they go down 6 to 12, maybe 18 inches under the ground. So they're real hard to get out by digging them out. So the only other way I decided to try was this taking away the sunlight from them, and it seems to be working a whole lot better and killing them off. Like, I got a whole bunch of polyps over here, beginning of them, and I just got to keep whacking them, because if I leave the polyps behind with a small plant, they just grow up big old dollarweeds, and they get their energy from the little leaves, which make them into big ones. So that's what I've been trying to do. It's cut off their ability to conduct sunlight. And in doing so, I think I've gotten rid of a huge amount, all right? More than you could dig out, unless you're gonna, like I said, go down 1.5 feet, and nobody's gonna do that, because I tried it and I went down 6 inches, and it didn't do any good. The roots were deeper than that, a lot deeper than that. So, that being said, we're gonna go on, change batteries now, and we're gonna go to the backyard and back around the backyard and do our edging too as well. Now, we forgot to do one section of the edging in the front, which we got to get next, and then we'll go to backyard. Making sure our shower heads are down. I'm trying to get up in between where some of the weeds are growing up on the walkway. Okay, now we're going to walk towards the backyard, and we're going to start in the backyard, working our way behind, up and around the shed, as well as do our edging around the backyard. Okay, I usually start over here at the boat. On the fence, turn it to horizontal, and get after this. Depending on the lawnmower that you're going to use, I have a 54-inch sit-on, or I have a 48-inch walk-behind. If you're going to use the walk-behind, you do not have to weed whack as much, because it will go up in some places where the sit-down mower will not. Okay? Do not whack that black wire, because this weed whacker will cut the wrapping off of the weed whacker wire. So do not whack that wire, or you'll be cutting the sheet of the cover off, because this weed whacker will take that off. Okay, here we go. We got another shower head that's got to be down. So as you're going, just make sure get up under the areas where you know you can't get with the lawnmower, either one. And weed whack all the way up inside here. continue on our weed whacking all the way around the house, the shed. Trying to get to all the places you can't go with the lawnmower, okay? Regardless of which one you use. All right, now let's work our way over to the other side of the shed. really hard to do when you have neighbors that don't participate. They just cut their grass down to a minimum and call it a day. A lot of what you're seeing here were polyps, probably little teeny ones last week. That in just 5 days have grown up to be full leaves. Just 5 days. All right, getting there. See how they grow up horizontally like that? I mean, vertically, they're very hard to pick up on. When they do that. When you can hear a little like cracking noise, that means the weed whacker is cracking through the top of the plant, making that cracking noise. And don't worry about getting them all, because there's always next week. Okay, so let's finish our edging. Right about here. Start going down. Want to move the barrel over here? Yep, for right now, yep.